Okay, I'm just going to start the PowerPoint. So I'm doing mine on renewable resources. The objectives are students will be able to define what a renewable resource is. Students will be able to identify the various types of renewable resources. And then students will be able to explain the advantages and disadvantages of renewable resources. And finally, students will be able to apply to how renewable resources positively and negatively affect businesses and the economy. So basically what we're going to do first is define what a renewable resource is. The definition says resources that can be used repeatedly and does not run out because it is naturally being replaced. It can also be defined as is a substance of economic value that can be replaced or replenished in less time than it takes to draw the supply down. Basically, what that means is these are resources that can be used consistently because they won't run out, because they will replenish themselves eventually before humans or any other type of species has the option to make it run out. Basically, there's two different types of resources. Obviously, I'm going over renewable, but I figured I should slightly touch on non-renewable because if you hear renewable, you're going to wonder what non-renewable is too. Non-renewable resources are resources that can be used up, while renewable will be consistently always have access to. There will always be a supply of renewable resources. This is just another diagram. I really liked this one because it gave these pictures and I felt like it was super helpful to describe what the difference between the two are. There's 5 different types of renewable energy or renewable resources: solar energy, biomass, wind energy, geothermal energy, and then hydropower energy. And I figured I'd just show some real life examples of renewable resources. I'm sure we all have seen solar panels before. I put in 2 pictures of solar panels. Basically, all of these renewable resources, or basically all of these sources, are converting energy into electricity. So that's where they're taking the sunlight's energy and turning it into energy and furthermore electricity that we can be using inside of our homes. The picture down in the corner is the windmills. This is wind energy. The wind is creating electricity. The one with the water, it's discussing hydropower. The water is as well making electricity. And then the last one is different types of biomass. These are all just things we see on Earth as well. All of these are renewable resources because, for example, there will always be wind, there will always be sunlight, there will always be water. All of those are renewable resources. Advantages of renewable resources. Renewable resources do not run out. We have gone over that. We discussed this. Maintenance to maintain energy sources is low, so meaning there's not much to do once you've already installed these various types of systems. And because the maintenance is low, it is saving money in the long run. More health benefits for people in the environment. I'm sure we have all heard of how non-renewable resources is bad for the ozone layer and so many other things that humans are breathing in, toxins that are produced by non-renewable resources. So advantage of renewable resources is that there are a bunch of health benefits for both the people and the environment around us. Lastly, renewable sources may lower the reliance on foreign countries. I'm sure we've all heard about how oil and gas is all in the Middle East, and possibly if we were to switch over to renewable resources, we'll be able to stop relying on other countries to help fuel our energy that we need. Disadvantages of renewable resources: it is pricey to install these. Storage capabilities cost more to store. This is more so for biomass energy, and for those types, you will need places to store, different places for biomass energy. Some areas may have geographic limitations. For example, some areas may not receive enough sunlight or wind. I'm sure we all have heard about how Alaska is dark for a certain amount of time in the year. So solar energy might not be a good choice of renewable resources there. Sometimes the resources are not available the full year or every day. For example, the sun does not shine every day and droughts can happen. So this is basically suggesting that it depends on your geographic location. And even if the geographic location does contain a lot of sunlight or does contain a lot of wind, other things can still happen, such as droughts. And obviously those aren't expected. Renewable resources and economics. Some businesses and industries are looking to make a switch from non-renewable resources to renewable due to the decreases in current resources that humans have depleted. I'm all sure we have heard of fossil fuels are running out, and what happens when they run out? Humans will have to switch over to renewable resources if we want to maintain our lifestyle of living. As the population grows, there is more of a demand for renewable resources. Using renewable resources puts less stress on depleting non-renewable resources. However, switching over to renewable resources is costly. And in my next slide, I figured I should do a breakdown of what energy consumption was in 2019. So as you can see, the United States, 11% of all the energy is broken down or is 11%, and then it's broken down to the side. Obviously, we can see that biomass energy is mostly used throughout the United States. It takes up 43% of all of the renewable energy sources. Yeah. And just to review it, renewable resources can be replaced in less time than it takes to decrease the whole supply. There's 5 different types: solar, wind, biomass, geothermal, and hydropower. Benefits: I think a great benefit is it may lower the reliance on resources from other countries. Disadvantages: it's a high cost to install and may be inconsistent in some geographic locations. And then at the end of this is a link to the Google Forms that I've created for the assessment portion of this assignment, and I will put that in the link.